For more than a decade, Sam Heughan and Caitríona Balfe have been the heart of Outlander. As Jamie and Claire Fraser, they carried audiences through battles, heartbreaks, and a love story so powerful it transcended time itself. Their bond on screen was undeniable, electric, magnetic, and so real that fans often questioned where the acting ended and where genuine affection began. Off-screen, their playful banter and mutual respect only fueled the idea that theirs was a friendship forged in fire, unbreakable and everlasting. But now, whispers of a rift between the two have shaken the fandom to its core. It started subtly, an offhand comment during Caitríona's recent press tour for an independent film. When asked whether she would consider collaborating with Sam again outside of Outlander, Caitríona hesitated, her expression serious. "I think what we've shared on screen is unique, and it might not be something we can, or should, recreate," she said. "At some point, you need boundaries. My family comes first, and sometimes the intensity of that partnership makes it hard to separate fiction from reality." The remark might have been brushed aside as a thoughtful reflection, but to fans it was a thunderbolt. For years, they had dreamed of the duo reuniting in another project, a period drama, perhaps, or even a stage play. Caitríona's words, careful but firm, suggested she had closed that door. Then came the silence. Sam, who has always been measured and private, did not respond. No statement, no reassurance, no playful comment to diffuse the tension. His social media remained focused on charity runs, whiskey promotions, and behind-the-scenes moments from Outlander. Fans, however, noticed what wasn't there: no acknowledgement of Caitríona's remarks, no direct interaction between the two in weeks. For a fandom accustomed to seeing their camaraderie at conventions and interviews, the absence felt deafening. The media wasted no time stoking the flames. Headlines shouted, "Balfe draws line. No more projects with Heughan," and "Is Outlander's golden duo facing a rift?" Analysts dissected Caitríona's choice of words, noting the emphasis on boundaries and family. Some praised her for setting limits in an industry that often demands too much, while others speculated about unspoken tensions behind the scenes. On social media, the fandom split in two. Supporters of Caitríona argued that she was simply protecting her personal life. "She's a wife and a mother, of course she wants to set boundaries," one fan wrote. "It doesn't mean she doesn't care about Sam." But another camp saw her words as a rejection of the partnership they cherished. "She knows how much fans love them together," one comment read. "Why say this unless something is wrong?" Soon, fan forums were ablaze with speculation. Was there a falling out behind the scenes of Outlander's final season? Had years of public scrutiny strained their friendship? Or was Caitríona simply weary of the constant pressure to blur the lines between her on-screen marriage and her real life? Old clips resurfaced online, adding fuel to the fire. A video from a 2017 convention showed Sam jokingly saying, "We'll always find our way back to each other." Paired with Caitríona's recent statement, fans claimed the contrast was glaring. Others pointed to Sam's consistent praise of Caitríona, noting that her silence in return interviews had become more noticeable in recent months. The debate reached fever pitch when an entertainment magazine quoted an anonymous insider claiming, "Things have been tense between them. They respect each other deeply, but the closeness they once had isn't the same anymore." Whether true or fabricated, the rumor added gasoline to an already raging fire. For fans who had built their love of Outlander not just on Jamie and Claire's story, but on Sam and Caitríona's real-life friendship, the idea of a rift was devastating. "If they can't stay close, what hope is there for the rest of us?" one distraught fan tweeted, half joking, half serious. Still, amid the noise, one question lingered louder than the rest. Was Caitríona's statement merely about boundaries, or was it the first public sign of a deeper fracture? The fandom, the media, and even casual observers were left wondering whether the bond that had carried Outlander through a decade of triumphs was now unraveling. And as speculation swirled, the stage was set for a truth far more complicated and shocking than anyone could have imagined. The rumors of a rift between Caitríona Balfe and Sam Heughan had already ignited a wildfire, but beneath the gossip lay a more complex reality. The shocking truth, as some headlines called it, wasn't about betrayal or animosity. It was about the invisible pressures that had built up over a decade of carrying one of television's most beloved relationships on their shoulders. For nearly 10 years, Sam and Caitríona lived as Jamie and Claire Fraser in the public imagination. Their performances were so convincing, so emotionally raw, that millions of fans worldwide blurred the line between fiction and reality. Every lingering glance, every embrace, every tear shed on screen was dissected online, often projected onto their real lives. That intensity brought fame and adoration, but also an unrelenting burden. As one industry insider put it, very few acting partnerships in television history have carried this much emotional weight for this long. It was bound to leave a mark. The heart of Caitríona's statement lay in her role as a wife and mother. Married since 2019 and now raising a young child, she has repeatedly spoken about the challenges of maintaining balance. Family comes first, she has said in multiple interviews. But the global fixation on her chemistry with Sam blurred those boundaries, pulling her private life into the glare of fandom and press. Her recent comments about not wanting to pursue another project with Sam were less about rejection and more about preservation. By drawing a line, Caitríona was reclaiming control over how much of her personal and professional life overlapped. For her, continuing to chase the magic of Jamie and Claire outside Outlander could risk undermining the sanctity of her home life. For Sam, the silence spoke volumes. He has always been private, often deflecting personal questions with charm and humor. But those who know him describe him as deeply loyal, someone who values his friendships fiercely. Caitríona's words, while honest, may have cut deeply because they drew attention to the very closeness that defined their partnership. Friends of the actor quietly noted that Sam has been juggling his own pressures, balancing Outlander's global legacy, running his whiskey brand, pursuing new acting opportunities, and living under constant scrutiny about his relationships. To have the partnership with Caitríona, his most public and cherished bond, suddenly cast as a potential burden must have stung. The fandom's reaction highlighted just how much the duo's relationship meant to people. Some argued that Caitríona's statement was a courageous stand for her personal life, while others interpreted it as a sign of distancing from Sam. On Reddit, one fan wrote, "She's protecting herself. We can't expect her to be Claire forever." Another countered, "But Sam has always spoken so highly of her. Imagine how he feels hearing this. It's heartbreaking." The divide was less about choosing sides and more about grieving the possibility that the partnership, as fans knew it, might be ending. Of course, the media thrived on the drama. Tabloids exaggerated the story, painting it as a feud, while thoughtful outlets analyzed the broader implications of fandom culture. One essay in The Guardian argued, "The so-called rift between Heughan and Balfe isn't personal conflict. It's the inevitable result of a culture that demands actors become extensions of the roles they play." By framing the truth this way, critics highlighted how the duo had become victims of their own success. The greater their chemistry, the more impossible it became to live separate lives. Despite the headlines, insiders insisted that the bond between Sam and Caitríona was not broken. "They've been through too much together to let a statement undo their friendship," one source said. But they are redefining what that friendship looks like. Caitríona is drawing boundaries, and Sam is respecting them, even if it hurts. The question now is how this redefinition will shape their futures. Fans may never see them reunite on screen outside of Outlander, but their legacy as one of television's greatest duos is untouchable. As the dust settles, the shocking truth is not a bitter feud, but a bittersweet evolution. Caitríona's words revealed the personal cost of sustaining such an intense partnership, while Sam's silence underscored the weight of that revelation. Their rift, if it can be called that, is less about division and more about distance, space created to protect lives that have been lived too long in the public eye. Still, fans are left with lingering questions. Will Sam ever address Caitríona's comments? Will time heal the sting and open the door for a reunion, however unlikely? Or is this truly the closing chapter of a story that defined an era of television? For now, The bond between Sam Heughan and Caitríona Balfe stands at a crossroads, still strong in memory, but reshaped by the reality of life beyond the screen.